Hey guys, Analog Man here for another. Actually, for once, I actually trying something new again. This is actually a test duel that me and my friend did. I'm gonna essentially call this series Analog Lab, essentially, if you can't tell by the title. Basically, it's just me and my friend workshopping our decks and trying to improve them and seeing if they even work against our basically each other. My friend here on the right is actually playing a sort of green OTK Rosemon deck that he developed himself. It's actually a really solid deck. He's actually using the really cool tech of Terriermon or Professor Terriermon. That one actually, I remember him actually winning a few games in our locals because of the fact that he basically gave all his little guys basically security +1 and he boosted them. So essentially, if your opponent has a really weak security, he could just swing in and like get rid of all of it. And it was just really crazy how that worked. So here, he starts off the match by just kind of, making a Weedmon, and then I end up, my hand was actually kind of weird, so I just ended up giving him 5 memory by just playing a Holy Wave. It was honestly kind of a weird turn. Here he pushes up the Weedmon and he does attempt to swing into my security. And of course, this being security control, he hits a Zwart defeat. So his guy doesn't die, but I do now have a Zwart defeat on field, which is very unfortunate for him in this case. Um, Here, he's contemplating how essentially he's gonna essentially keep his guy on the board because green OTK or just any form of that deck actually has a really bad matchup against security control. So here he decides to kind of push it over to me for like maybe 2 memory, and unluckily for him, I do have the answers for it. I know that in this move, I end up just swinging into his Weedman because in this case, if he blocks, his blocker will die, and if not, his Weedmon will die. So either way, I get to get rid of one guy on his board. And in my at that time, my idea was essentially to get rid of most of his board as fast as possible. And in this case, he does allow the Weedmon to just die, which honestly works for me because honestly, I with green, the main thing you have to worry about is the digi bursting because that's one of their main strategies now at the moment. Here I start off my turn at literally, I think he gave me like 1. So here I just tactical retreat and just put back Zwart defeat. So that way my security is back at full, and I push him over at back to 3 by passing, mainly because a lot of the cards I believe at that time when during this match, my hand was mostly removal cards that I just could not play because I just did not have a black tamer at that moment, so I just had to kind of wait it out a little bit. So here he evolves into Arbomon for once. Really solid hybrid card that I really love that he's using finally because that card can win you games. Here, I think he does evolve the Kabuterimon, I believe. Yeah, he Digisorptions using Argomon, I believe. Yeah, and here I believe he does Digivolve in Raising, so he does only push me to 2, which is kind of unfortunate for me in my on my side because I do like having more memory, but green is very good at memory choking. So I kind of had to work around that, which wasn't a big of a deal because I did have removal still. So here I'm like a little bit like I'm just contemplating like what to do exactly, just looking at how it goes. And honestly, I just passed here because no matter what I did, I'd be giving him an insane amount of memory. And against green, especially with security control, you do not give them as much memory as you possibly can. You want to memory choke them back in a way. As long as they don't have their Mimi out, you can essentially just keep them at maybe 2 to 3, which is fine. So that way they can't go into their really big level 6s yet or their level 7s, which is a really good thing. Here, my friend was kind of he was just basically trying to figure out how to swing in and get as much security out without essentially his guy dying. Here he does. I do remember that he does Digiburst because the Digiburst does give Grand Kawagamon the extra 2 security, which is really nice. And then, of course, if it survives it, basically, it can actually turn into Chaosmon and just kind of boost its way up and wreck the board basically. Here he's trying to figure out if he wants to evolve in raising, but yeah, he does end up just passing to me, which honestly I feel was kind of a bad move. But at the moment, I did not have any removal that I could use without a Black Tamer, so I was kind of in a situation where I just didn't want to play as much. So here I just pass it by healing again using Magna Anja. It was a solid play because essentially I was risking his Chaosmon piercing through, but in my sense, by healing, he would only get one hit in anyway, or well, two hits essentially with the Digi bursting, which is fine. But here I was just honestly I was just taking a gamble, hoping that the card I healed into would stop his board basically. Here he Digibursts, and I do believe that's the new Rosemon from BT6, I believe. Yeah, it basically gives it boosts I think by 2,000 for everything, and then the cool thing is that anything that I believe has Digiburst gains security +1. So basically, he was going to be swinging, I believe, for one, two, like 3 or 4 security with the Grand Kawaga. So it would have been in a lot of security. Essentially, he would have hit me for at least 5 to 6 security if my security was that weak and wasn't mostly Digimon. Here he decided to just boost the Rosemon so that it became 13. So it'd be a 13,000 swinging for 2 security, which is already that's actually a bit threatening. Here, yeah, he does finally Digiburst, giving his guy an extra security plus. So his guy will be swinging for 3 security. So here, essentially with both on board, we have 5 security hitting, and I only have about 6 to 7 security. So that would essentially wipe my board if my security isn't good enough. So here, he's still a little bit contemplating like if he wants to hit because he already knows that I have a Zwart defeat, but I do remember that he does just end up swinging. Yeah, there you go. He just swings in, seeing if he can get here, he actually hits into Geo Gray, which is unfortunate. I can't pop anything, but basically he sets me up for having 3 guys on board, which is a lot already for security control. This new build I'm actually testing out here is actually more of an aggro build, and so far it's actually been doing really well. As of this recording, I actually did manage to win first place with it. Oh, and here he swings into a Wyvern's Breath, and I use that to, I believe, target his Rosemon, I believe. Yeah, and my idea is that because it's the one hitting, or the one that's still swinging, I basically just deleted it. Um, this new aggro build is actually really good. Anyway, before I cut off, I actually managed to win first place at my locals recently with it, and it's really solid. Very powerful, very fast. Actually, the fact that it could keep up with green OTK was insane. Here, my opponent just ended up just playing a memory boost because I think at this point, because he lost both his level 6s, he had to basically restart everything again. Here, this is actually a really good tech card that my friend has been using in his green deck, Weisslin. Weisslin is a really crazy card, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised a lot of green players are not playing it because it can potentially win you games. Right now, here, I can't swing with both Magna Anja and Zwart because of that. So I can only swing with Geogray at the moment, which really sucks, but I don't know, that card is just really good. And the fact that if you have a Digiverse guy, it actually reduces its cost, which is really sweet. Here I do end up swinging with the red Geogray, and I end up hitting his Mimi, which really is unfortunate because then that just gives him more advantage. Here I believe I'm still at 3. Oh yeah, and then I hard play, I believe, yeah, a Quadramon. Like you can't see it from the glare because of my light, but it is a, actually wait, no, yeah, no, that's a Magnet, my bad. So it's a Magna, and I end up healing. So now I have 4 attacks on board. So if he doesn't get rid of my guys, he's essentially going to be in a really rough spot in this situation. Here he's going back for another level up again. Here there's Weedmon. Weedmon is still really solid option in green. the fact that it gets you a memory when it get Digiburst, and it's a one cost, so it's really solid. Here, I think that's a Cherrymon he evolved into. This is where he kind of ran out. I believe he didn't have that many level fives at this moment, so it was just kind of rough, honestly. So yeah, here he just goes straight into his level six, and thanks to the memory boost, he doesn't pass it to my turn yet. So here he actually does use Mimi to push it out, which is really rough because here he can potentially get about 3 to 4 security again on me. Yep, and here he does. He's still contemplating because at this point we both do not know what's in the security, so potentially there will be removal in there. And here I'm explaining that I essentially have 4 hits at this point, so it's just a matter of like what he wants to do exactly at the moment. So here he digibursts, I believe 4, and he gives jamming to his Grand Kawaga and gives it the extra boost of attack also thanks to the egg. And then also the fact that he does gain an extra security for each one and gains a memory from Weedmon. So here I believe his guy has a +2 or +3 security. And so he swings in with the other Grand Kawaga first to kill my Geogray because, removing stuff on my board is good because I already have 3 attackers, and that's not really a good thing against security control. Here he swings for about 3 security, but I do believe he does hit into he hits into a Salmon. He finally hits into a Black Tamer, which I'm very happy about because then I can start moving. But unfortunately, he hits right into a Wyvern's Breath. So I basically delete the other Grand Kawaga. Here, here I'm actually a little bit low on security. I believe I'm at 2 or 3 security here, but I'm not very much worried because now that I have my Black Tamer, I can potentially do stuff. But here he does play another Weisland, which is really unfortunate. Weisland is still a very, very annoying card to deal with, and as I said, I'm very surprised that nobody honestly plays it because it's such a great card. Here I just go all in and I just start swinging the security. So I swing in. He gets his hidden potential, which is also very unfortunate because now I have to deal with that. Um, but I think in my hand, I actually do have the removal needed. So I just pop his Grand Kawaga so he doesn't have another attack next turn. And this essentially also forces him to restart his build again. But at the same time, I am passing him to 5 memories, so it's kind of a gamble usually. With security control, you have to be very precise with your removals essentially, and with how certain decks are, especially with green, is where they put all their effort into making one big guy that swings. Once you get rid of that, essentially, it's a really rough time for green, and they have to essentially restart and hope that the security control player, and in this case, just doesn't have a board. But I managed to establish a board somehow, which is still very strange with security control, because normally you usually win with like 1 or 2 Digimon on board, and usually most of the time the builds I've seen are usually deck out versions because they usually heal a lot. Here my opponent is still kind of figuring out. I think at this point, I think he's kind of running low on resources, which it's really unfortunate, but that's just how security control works against most decks. Just out resourcing your opponent and just swinging for game when they don't have enough resources to protect themselves essentially, which is really unfortunate. Here he does attempt to just play out a bunch of rookies, trying to memory choke me essentially, which I mean, that's essentially the best way to do at this point because you have to swarm me. At this point, I only have about 2 to 3 security. So if he sets it, if I didn't have removal, I would essentially have enough setup to lose the game essentially. So here he's taking a gamble here, and he is only putting me at 2. But thankfully, thanks to Izzy and Joe, I do gain an extra 2 memories, which will help with removal. Here, I do believe I might have a Gewaltschwarmer, but first I do swing with the Zwart Defeat into security, which does just hit another Argomon, which is good. I go all in again on this turn, so I just go another Angemon, and then another Angemon, and luckily his security was very weak. So here I just end up I do believe I think yeah here I just hard play a Magnadramon because here I only have 2 to 3 security, so I honestly have to heal. If not, I basically lose the match. So I do give him I believe up to let's see, that's like 7 memory, yeah, because I was already at 4. So here it's like he has to swing in and kill me this turn, and if not, he basically loses the match. So here, I believe he's trying to figure out the best strategy here because he already has the 2 rookies. He has the Terriermon, the Argamon, and the one in Raising, which is at the moment an Arbamon. So potentially he can push up, which he does, to make another Grand Kawaga and hopefully swing enough for game. I do believe he taps one of them, I believe. I think he Digizorps one of them, maybe. Like here he's just trying to figure out the best way to get past the security at the moment because I as you saw I already healed up basically to 4 to 5 and it's just really rough. Once the security player gets low enough, they can just reset the board again, and it's just you just have to get through it. And unlike decks like D Brigade and Rookie Rush, um, one board wipe hurts, but with how certain decks are, they can just recur nonstop, and it's and you just have to keep essentially chipping away, and if not, it's just really rough. Here he does activate Mimi to hatch another one to draw into his guy, and I do believe he does have enough to swing in, I believe. I think here I do remember that he was contemplating like if he would have enough security checks here and or memory to accomplish what he wanted to do. But I do believe during the match he did tell me that he actually needed just one more memory. If that would have essentially gotten him I think a Grand Kawaga and a Chaos, I believe. So it's just unfortunate that that Izzy and Joe essentially helped me push it back slightly. So because of that, I do believe he can technically evolve into a Grand Kawaga and swing in for at least 3 security, but that's not guaranteed because right now, as of this moment in the match, we did not know what the other 2 cards that my Magnadramon healed into. So potentially he would be hitting into something removal at some point because no matter what how the deck works, there is a lot of removal and you will hit into it almost every time when you hit security. So this part actually took a little bit longer, mainly because of that. But yeah, we're just both kind of thinking out like how the match will go. So here he finally does digivolve into a Grand Kawaga, and unfortunately, I don't think he drew into his Chaosmon, so he doesn't have the extra security checks with it. But here, I do believe he does Digiburst again, giving it another 2 security. And I think there is a Palmon underneath it. So when he does Digiburst it, it will gain jamming. Here he digivolves one more time. I honestly did not know why he did that. I assumed it's because he was afraid of hitting into an ultimate flare. But this new build that I run actually only runs about 1 or 2. So honestly, it wouldn't have been a big of an issue, and especially since he digiburst, it wouldn't really have done anything. The like if he had hit into it, it would have just honestly just evolved maybe that Vegiemon, and then it would have killed that and the Terriermon. But here, I think he's safe. He has like 3 security plus jamming, so he just goes in because if with that he potentially could win the game. But unfortunately, the first card I do believe he hits into was an Onslaught, which kills his Grand Kawaga, and yeah, unfortunately that kind of killed his killed his one chance to win the game, which really sucks. Like that's just how security is. Sometimes it's like you hit into almost every removal, sometimes you just hit into all their Digimon. It's honestly really RNG-ish sometimes. All right, so my opponent, or my friend, I mean, opts for me to go first. But unluckily for him, I end up basically having Salamon in my starting hand, which is really nice. But aside from that, I didn't really have much, so I just passed it to him. Here, I do believe he goes up into a line. Here, he did draw into his Palmon, which is unfortunate for me because that does give jamming. And he evolves it, of course, into a Kabuterimon, which is also really nice, and getting a Lilamon and passing it to one. So here, I kind of contemplated what was in my hand, but I do end up just going for it and just playing a reinforced memory boost for 6, putting him to 5 memory, which seems like a really bad idea, but here I do end up getting a Magnadramon and an Izzy and Joe Tamer, which is really nice. Izzy and Joe, honestly, and this deck is really broken, so I ended up just playing 4 of it, and I've been actually liking it a lot. Here, my idea, honestly, when I saw that he already had Lilamon, my idea was that because of the reinforce hitting those 2 cards, I would put the Tamer into security because that way he would swing into it, thinking that his Lilamon would be fine for the next turn. Um, I was hoping, honestly, I was also hoping that he did not have a level 6 at this time, which I do believe he does not have at the time. So it does help a bit. Here he just, as um, as I was hoping, he did swing in and give me the Izzy Tamer, which is really great for me, because then it allows me to play black option cards and removal. For here, he does. I do believe he plays an Argomon, and he puts me to 3 thanks to. No, he actually passes. He passes it to me for 1, but because of Izzy and Joe, I go up to 3. So here I pop the memory boost immediately, putting myself up to 6. Because I do believe on that turn I did draw into Ornismon, which is a really awesome level 5 or no a level 6 purple Digimon that on play just kind of deletes a level 5. And my idea here was to get rid of the Lilamon. Lilamon is really powerful, especially if it can Digiburst. So I just opted to just get rid of it as soon as possible, despite giving him 6 memory. It is unfortunate that I did have to give him so much memory where he could just recover with, but I was honestly hoping that he just didn't have the answer for Nismon at the moment, which it does turn out that he did not have the answer, luckily, because Ornismon is honestly it's a really decent card, but the fact that it costs 12 to play means that you have to already have like a whole setup before you play him down. Here my friend does contemplate how to play through this essentially because Ornismon also has an inherent, by default, he does have security +1. So next turn, I will be swinging for 2 security, which means he will be at a disadvantage security wise. Because if you essentially let security control gain advantage on you like this, you will be having a very tough time. I do believe that this game did last a little bit shorter, mainly because of Ornismon, because of that security +1 is just really powerful. Here he does push up the Professor Terriermon and he detaches, giving it 2,000, and he does add a Weedmon to hand, so he can start up another new line next turn. And no, actually no, he actually ended up evolving on top of it. So now his Weedmon is I think 4 to 5,000, I believe. So it is it did get boosted a bit, but it's kind of weird because with security control, as I said, the security is very strong. So you have to essentially hope you just kind of hit into nothing. And here my friend is contemplating if he should swing with it. I do remember he does level up at least maybe one more time before he swings. That way it's a little bit more safer for him to do so. But I do remember that it didn't really do much, especially since I still had Ornismon the next turn. Yeah, here, I believe he does just swing, I believe. Not sure because at this point, he was still contemplating what he wanted to do, trying to figure out how much memory it would cost, essentially. Here he just decides to just swing with Argomon. Actually, oh wait, no, my bad, not swinging. That was my mistake. He was a Digisorption, free to make his Blossomon, so it does make it free, and then he does go into, I believe, a Grand Kawaga or possibly the Rosemon, which is what I honestly like. When I saw him do that, I was already like thinking, oh no, he's probably gonna make either Grand Kawaga or he's gonna like Chaosmon, the Ornismon, so either that or it's like I won't be keeping Ornismon basically on the board for long, so I was just like, okay, I just have to do something next turn and hope that it can do some impact. Here he does tap Mimi to hatch another egg. I do believe he said that he was still searching for what he needed for the hit, but he did not draw it, so he had to just go into his Grand Kawaga here, putting himself to 2 memory. Yeah. Here he Digibursts only 2. He does gain 1 memory. So here his Grand Kawaga does have security +1. And I do believe it was the one egg that does give 2,000. So he is already at, I believe, 13,000 for 2 security. And since we don't know what the security is at this point, he does swing in, I believe. Yeah, he swings in for 2 security, and unfortunately, he does hit a Geogray, which does pop his Argomon. And then the second check is a Wyvern's Breath, which is really unfortunate. Honestly, these 2 matches, I had some really good luck with the security, and I did manage to hit his guys repeatedly, the first game and this one, so I was pretty happy with how that turned out. Here he does the memory boost, putting himself to, I believe, 0. Here, unfortunately, he did draw into his Chaosmon, which is a white Digimon, so he could not add it, and he had to bottom deck it, which really sucks. Yeah, here he does end up just passing it over to me, I believe, for 1 memory, which is very unfortunate, but I already had enough security to do what I needed to do. So because I believe I only had 2 to 3 security left because of that attack. So Salamon's effect to draw was live. So I swing in, and I do believe I hit a block. Yeah, I hit a Blossomon, and Salamon dies, and she does heal me, which is really nice. Then I think at this point I'm back up to 4, I believe. Yeah. Here I do swing with the Ornismon first because I'm hoping I don't hit anything huge. I hit into Weislin, which just makes it so that my Geogray just can't attack, which really sucks because I could have gotten an extra security check, but Ornismon is already checking for 2. So basically, we resolve 1 more check in this case, and it is a hidden potential. I do not know why that keeps ending up in the security, but it's whatever, honestly. Here I'm still at 1 memory, so in my hand I honestly did not have that many options, so I just went and just digivolved into Sword Defeat. And here I popped his Mimi and I kept him at I think 1 or 2 memory, which is really nice because that way he can't go further with his plays, which is a huge downside for green because green does rely on the green Mimi Tamer a bit. Mimi is part of how they can just rush you. If they have multiple, they can potentially rush you for game. But here, my friend, I think I know he runs like at least three to four. I'm not 100% sure because we both usually change our decks a lot. So I'm not 100% sure how many he has, but I know he at least has two to three. So it's unfortunate that he only got one Mimi Tamer each game, but that's just how it is sometimes in Digimon. RNG, or the shuffling. It's usually it honestly just comes down to luck sometimes. And in this case, I did have a little bit of luck of having Ornismon survive, which I honestly was not expecting it to survive that long. But here I'm already poised to have two more hits next turn, so it's just dependent on what goes down. Here he does boost himself with the memory, and he passes it over to me for one again. Um, I believe at this point he thought I did not have removal in hand, especially since I didn't play any. So here I swing into security with Warp Defeat. I hit into a Rosemon, and luckily it's only 11,000. I hit with Geogray as well. Yeah, I hit a Geogray, and unfortunately, it is just a Palmon, so my Geogray does survive the security battle. And unfortunately, I do believe I drew into removal. So here, I'm contemplating if I can even play it technically because I do not have a yellow source. So I end up just playing a onslaught to put him to 7, but that does wipe his board and it does force him to essentially rebuild again. And unfortunately, he did not. I'm not sure if he had a blocker at this point. I did not like. I couldn't really see his hand at that. Like I can't really see his hand through the webcam. There's no, so I can't really predict what he had. So I was assuming he probably had a Kabuterimon, probably, hopefully, because I saw at least like two of them that had died, and I assumed he played at least two more. But unfortunately, I think I had game at this point because with those two swings, if he could not get rid of them, I basically would have won the game. Here he evolves into Arbomon. Um, I think at this point, he was just trying to figure out if he could put down something to stop me from swinging for game. But I think at this point, he didn't have the answer for it. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. As I said, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. Here he evolves for 3. And to Blossomon, I think at this point he was still digging for something to stop me, but he did not have it. So essentially, he all he could really do was just play down on Mimi. So I just drew and I swung with a Geogray for game. Basically Nova Blast for game, essentially, from like anybody that knows what his attack name is. But that's basically the end of the match.